I'm going to start with Spanish. Good afternoon to everyone. My name is Ana Martina. I work in the co-op clinic. I'm a trainer, educator, and I offer technical assistance. And I'm here today with my colleague, Darisha Harris. She is the Director of Training and Education of the Federation, and also with my colleague, Matt Feinstein, who also works at the Co-op Clinic. Today, we are going to be doing this presentation together. Just a little to locate ourselves as we're interacting. We ask if you are not presenting to please turn off your microphone. And if you want to turn your camera on, if you're comfortable, it's much more pleasurable to see people who are on the call. And also, if you have questions, you can put them into the chat or comments as well. And we are very excited to be relaunching the Co-op Clinic today and also sharing with you the Speakers Bureau, which we've been working on for several years. And just a little bit to look at the agenda of what we're going to be doing today. We're going to start with a little bit of the history and the trajectory of the Co-op Clinic. We're going to have an example of how we work with the client. And we're also going to share some new materials and what the different resources are that we have through the Co-op Clinic. We're going to explain how they work, how the clinic works, and we're also going to talk again about the Speakers Bureau. And then we're going to have a moment to have small groups where we can have mini presentations to show you a type of work that we do with the Co-op Clinic and also with the Speakers Bureau. And then if we have time, we'll have a space for questions and answers, which we'll be gathering up in the chat. And that's what we're going to be doing today. So now I'm going to turn it over to Esteban, who is the director of the Federation of Worker Cooperatives.
Awesome. Thank you, Anna. I couldn't get this.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm also feeling really excited and emotional just seeing everybody here and having, I don't know, it just feels like a culmination of so much reorganization and leadership development and training. Everyone here has been participating really actively, either as presenters for some of the content, training and technical assistance. Some of you were fellows or apprentices in the earlier days before Co-op Clinic shifted and back when it was the Democracy at Work Network. And along the way, many of you have sort of mentored and trained one another. So in a lot of ways, this is a culmination of the development of this field and this community of practice, which is really what it is ultimately, a space where everyone who's involved in the kind of cooperative skills and training and tools and curriculum development, especially in the worker co-op space, but anything involving that skill set, even some of you who work with different kinds of cooperatives and democratic workplaces, that this is our community of practicing those things, iterating on those things, borrowing from each other and learning from each other. So the Democracy at Work Network is a retired brand and was sort of dreamed up initially as part of a sort of ecosystem along with the Democracy at Work Institute, so that we would have a think tank for the Worker Co-op Federation and a C3 organization that could resource the research and development and also to deploy and really house a lot of the training and public sort of educational programs that our field needed. And we did kind of birth DAWI, the Democracy at Work Institute, back, I think, formally in 2013, although it was dreamed up prior to that. I remember being on the board of DAWI in maybe 2010 or something. And then alongside it, we had already been nurturing this network. Some of you were around for this, of peer technical assistance advisors. Initially, Dawn was really rigidly meant to be people who were actively worker owners inside of their cooperatives. And we would put them through a rigorous certification process, and then also plug them into a set of governance and annual meetings. And in fact, many of them were called governors, the Dawn governors, who were sort of stewarding this network. And as we brought it in-house and resourced it more, we also were realizing that the field itself was developing and maturing in a lot of ways. So many of the people who started out as worker owners inside of their workplaces went on to become consultants or to do TA and left their home cooperatives. Some of them ended up taking on jobs in cooperative development centers or even starting their own institutions or nonprofits that supported co-op development. Some people went on to run academies and training programs outside of whatever their initial home places were. And so part of this idea of expanding that network into a co-op clinic was a way to also reflect how much our field has evolved, that there are so many people who have lived experience as worker owners who now are either developers or organizers in different ways in the field. And as you look around the virtual room, you kind of have a sense of that. For those of you who are seeing familiar faces, it's like, oh yeah, didn't you used to be at such and such, and now you're wherever. And that's even true for people on our own staff who started out as worker owners, like Kate and Maddie and Matt Feinstein and Ana Martina. So and even for myself, in some ways, I am not full time as a worker owner. I'm part-time as a worker owner in my co-op. So the sort of newly rebooted co-op clinic is meant to capture all of that input and talent, and also all the friends who've accompanied us along the way, people who've gone through the Cooperation Works trainings and some of the CDFIs even that weren't as prominent back when we initially founded Dawn. So I think initially we went to stake out and fill this gap in the field where there was a lack of technical assistance that was relevant for worker owners and for our businesses. And now we're updating and adapting again to what the field looks like these days.
Muchas gracias, Esteban, por esa recapitulación. Voy a pasar la palabra a Matt.
Thank you, Esteban, for this. Now I'm going to turn it over to Matt.
Thank you for that history. And so now we'd like to share a story of one of the clients that's working with the co-op clinic right now. First of all, because their project is so amazing and you all should know about it. But second of all, because they can share a little bit about the process as we're working through it. And then the peer advisor, Andrew Statue, who's working with them, is here also to share the experience of working as a peer advisor on the project. So Bonita has just joined us. If you could just share a little bit about JAMA Cooperative Farming Alliance and how it's going so far working with the U.S. Federation of Worker Co-ops and the Co-op Clinic.
Sure. Hello. Good evening, everyone. Forgive me, I'm out in the field. We're trying to be ahead of the frost that's hitting us. I'm in a little farm that we started that is a demonstration farm to show people about our collection of soul food. We asked grandmothers and elders what they had to have for their soul food diet, and they gave us a list of things, and that's what we're growing in this field. We have black-eyed peas, we have watermelon, we have sweet potatoes, butter beans, tomatoes, okra, we have callaloo, we have mustard greens, collard greens, spinach, we have purple hull, and some other varieties that, based on our surveys, people telling us that are really important to traditional Southern diet. We started this work because of the need to feed people after the breakdown in the food distribution system caused by COVID. We were concerned particularly about our elders because they were afraid to come out of their house. They weren't getting the proper food, diet, and nutrition. They weren't getting any sunshine, which they needed to stay healthy. And so I normally work with a group of high school and college kids. We decided to join the Co-op Gardens Commission and start giving away free seeds and helping people put their gardens together. So the young people went out as calling themselves the Tiller Core and planted gardens and set up a store, an online store to distribute seeds. So one of the things we found is there was a shortage of culturally important seeds for the African and African American and Caribbean community. So in my journeys through various seed conferences, I realized that there were very, very few BIPOC seed companies, hardly any, and very few organic certified BIPOC growers. Asking that question, I got some answers that were somewhat perplexing. But a few weeks after that, I got an offer from some major seed companies to help start up a Black indigenous seed company specializing in culturally meaningful seeds. They offered us reparations, and after not too much of a discussion, we were able to agree that we needed to do this thing and take our gardening and expand it. We had already been doing seed farming, growing things like sorghum and okra, but that we would launch our brand. And so that's the work that that Matt and Anna and Andrew have been helping us to do, is to generate a really clean picture of who we are and how we do business. We're looking at our membership matrix. We're defining who we are and what we believe in as we plant and grow and harvest seed. And we are launching our seed company for Kwanzaa 2021. We're launching our brand as Ujamaa Seeds. So I hope all of you will take a look at Ujamaa farming. If you are interested in growing, we are recruiting people who are interested in our values, who are interested in supporting their food and cultural traditions, interested in helping to reclaim our heritage, to steward these important seeds, the things that our grandparents ate, and to provide these to future generations. So that's the work that we're doing. And I want to thank this wonderful group of people who have joined us to try to make this vision real and accessible and caring and fair in the way we treat each other and the way that we treat our growers and the public to come. So I think that's about it. Is there anything specific you want me to talk about, Matt?
That's great, Bonita. Thank you for sharing. And if people have questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. We'll have time later. But yeah, Andrew, why don't you share your experience?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Andrew Stockyu, he, him, and it's been so awesome to work with Ujamaa. A really awesome group with so many cool ideas and such a great project. I think it's been particularly exciting to work on the multi-stakeholder mission, folding in all the different elements, philosophies, ideologies that the group wants to pull together, particularly around maintaining 2/3 BIPOC leadership on the board and managing all the different stakeholders and groups that are going to be part of this co-op. So what, Matt and Anna and myself have been doing primarily has been really working with the governance group to develop an overview of what the structure could look like. As you could see right here, this is the product of all of those conversations. So the first primary goal has really been to develop the sense of what the governance structure could look like, what the different working groups and governing bodies would be, identify the different relationships between those groups. And then, now we're starting to transition into a dual focus of starting to develop the business plan as well. So that's another really exciting element we're just getting into. And then the last piece I would mention is just, kind of guiding the process of working with the group to figure out, okay, we have this group now. It's a small percentage of what the co-op will eventually be. So kind of navigating the process of the forming, establishing the co-op, the governance, the systems, and then also planning for the eventual incorporation and the growth of the co-op and how it's going to scale, because the plans for this co-op is to be international with stakeholders all over the world. So it's really thrilling to be thinking about a project of this scale and scope, and such an awesome group of people. So that's kind of my little nutshell overview of what we've been doing. I think there's so much to say just looking at this governance structure proposal to get into. So I don't know, Matt, if you have any pieces you want to add to that, or any other elements around some of the work we've been doing.
I think that's a great overview, and it's really fun to work on all this back end governance work and then see all the other things that are happening. Ujamaa, for example, is already in production, supporting seed group farmers all over, Mid-Atlantic region and nationally. So it's just great to see how, our clinic can support that kind of project. So great. Pass it back to Anna.
Gracias, Bonita y
Thank
Andrew.
you, Benita, Andrew, and Matt. This weekend that just finished, I was able to work with the group. They were in the soy harvest, and they have all a big team and incredible family, so it's been a pleasure to work with them. And so to talk a little bit more about how the cooperative clinic works and what's new in this clinic, of how we're working together with organizations. We've identified that when one person arrives, a client, an organization, there's different levels that they might need support in. So it made sense for us think about how we're working and with supporting with technical assistance. So typically, when somebody approaches us, we're able to say, well, this person or organization needs help at the level one, maybe, where we're going to provide resources, references, or make connections with other members of the cooperative ecosystem. Or maybe they're at level two, where they need a mix of advisors, technical assistance package, so we're prepared, and tier three, that they need more in-depth training assessments to be able to advance the mission of the organization. For example, a group like Ujamaa is like in level 2 or 3 because Andrew is doing very specific work of technical assistance, but we also did a training that was more specific to be able to support the members to talk about their rights and responsibilities. And one of the things as well that we're mentioning is that we have different packets that Matt has developed for cooperatives that maybe are starting out, or maybe they've been incorporated in the ecosystem for a long time, or maybe those that just ones that need to do a revision of their structure. So for those that are starting, this is the bulb package, like a plant. For those that are already established, like the blossoming or blossom, and those that are ready to provide fruit, it's a third level, and continual assistance, which we realize is very important because uh, once a cooperative business passes the incubation, after a few years, they're going to require that constant support to be able to have success in their future endeavors. So those different packets are available for any organization. We can have a conversation about how that works. And also, Matt has prepared some mini guides that are very specific that try to be info sheets that can easily be incorporated within the meetings in the cooperatives to be able to support you in different situations, from conflict resolution or to talk about membership quotas, uh, financing, etc. And all these guides are available in our website. And one thing that I wanted to mention as well is that the cooperative clinic is a clinic that serves in some way through services like a consultant work. And so the federation is always looking for financing or financial support to be able to provide more pro bono support. And until now, with the resource that we have to be able to provide this kind of resource, there are federal organizations like the Department of Agriculture, and we also receive a grant through that department to support eligible organizations in rural areas. So there's a process to determine if an organization can receive that pro bono support. Merujama, for example, is one of those groups that applies and is eligible for that type of assistance. So the work that we're doing is subsidized through this grant. So we're trying to find more constantly the financing. But just so you know, those who are in rural areas that know organizations, there is this. So back to you, Matt.
Great. And we're just so excited to have those resources out there in the world today. And just to mention that the guides that Anna mentioned are all translated, thanks to Tilde, the co-op here interpreting today. And they are also on the website in English and Spanish. So, so really quick, this is just in case you know someone who's interested in the services, you can help them know how they're going to connect with the co-op clinic. First of all, we do a lot of the education that Anna mentioned some of it. We do a monthly startup webinar for people who are just thinking about the idea. But then when they're ready, they can request support through a really quick form online or by emailing clinic@usworker.coop. And then they'll immediately be able to schedule a half-an-hour intake call where we can hear where they're at with their project and get them some immediate resources for what kind of needs they have right at the time. And we can start thinking about ongoing support for their co-op project. And established co-ops can schedule one of those intakes at any time, and we can find the needs they have as well. So startups, conversions, companies that are converting to cooperatives, and and established cooperatives can all use this process. And so we'll send you resources, and then we'll think about a draft scope of work, and we'll help you find funding if possible, right? The grants that Ana Martina mentioned, if you're in a rural area or in New York City or in a few other places, we may be able to leverage some funding. If not, we'll work with you to try to help you find some funding to cover this technical assistance work. Otherwise, it's a fee-for-service opportunity where we match you with a technical assistance provider, one of our peer advisors from our network that you'll be getting to meet soon. So that's the basic process, and hopefully it's clear on the website how to walk through that all, but you can support others in your network that are interested in using the services now that you know how it works. So let's go to the next slide. So we have a lot of peer advisors here in the room. We're going to get a chance for them to share, what excites them most about being a peer advisor in just a short phrase. And there, yeah, it's just so great, this network that we're able to tap into. All these folks who have come from working in worker co-ops are now sharing their expertise and have supported many other co-ops now as advisors. So let's go in the order, left to right, top to bottom, as we see in the screen. And then there's a few people who haven't gotten their pictures yet, if they could go afterwards too. So Caterie, if you can start, and yeah, just go ahead with that name, pronouns, your workplace, and what excites you.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Happy to kick us off. Once again, my name is Caterie Gutierrez, she, her, hers, or ella in Spanish. I'm currently an MBA candidate at the University of Michigan, where I'm focusing on strategy, public-private partnerships, and equitable systems more independently. My background is I was a co-founder of Collective Avenue Coffee, which was a worker co-op in Los Angeles, as well as a collaborator in Co-op LA, a small collaborative. I've also had experience with helping out at Project Equity with conversions, and something that I love about the technical assistance and as peer advisor is just combining the excitement of entrepreneurship with the model of cooperatives and bringing those two together.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mackenzie Jones, she, her, hers. I live in Ithaca, New York, and I am a member of Collab Cooperative, which is an internationally worker-owned tech firm. And I also have a nonprofit project under fiscal sponsorship called The Worker Place. And there I incubate pro-labor and anti-capitalist cooperative businesses in the Ithaca, New York region. And I really get excited about the co-op clinic and peer advisors because I think it's part of making business ownership really accessible for people. And I don't think that a lot of folks growing up in the United States have access to ownership. And I love that the peer advisor network and the co-op clinic make it a little bit more feasible and possible through training and resources and supporting fundraising. I'm really happy to be here. Nice to see you all.
Daniela here. If not, we'll go to Brendan.
Oh, was it?
Oh, Daniela, go ahead. Okay, yes.
Okay, it's probably my turn. Yeah, mi nombre es Daniela Preisler.
My name is Daniela Preisler. I'm a co-founder of Culminar Cooperative Consulting. I also work as a developer of co-ops. Well, it's a nonprofit organization that accompanies with cooperative formation. I'm a coordinator of business excellence. I'm also from a cooperative in cleaning in San Francisco, where I had the role of be the head of the administration and finance committee. I was there for 7 years, and the same organization that I work for, which is called Prospera, it was called Wages before that. And it's a fellowship, and I developed as in my specialty of technical assistance, and I started to work here with the Co-op Clinic. And I think what I like the most is that I believe a lot in popular education, and this makes me think about popular education, not just sharing what we have, but also what we can gather from other people. And I like that very much, this exchange of knowledge. And every time that I am with other peer advisor, I like it so very much to be able to have this kind of sharing and to know other people's experiences. Thank you.
Hey, peace everyone. I'm Brandon. Brandon King, all lowercase. I'm a founder of Cooperation Jackson. I was a farm anchor for Freedom Farms Cooperative. Cooperation Jackson is like a federation of cooperatives in Mississippi. currently, I'm on the board for Cooperation Jackson, but now I'm working with a forum called Resonate Co-op. It's owned by the artists, it's owned by the listeners, and also the developers. So with them, I've been working to try to help to establish a good co-op culture and decision-making sort of models. And I think one thing that excites me about being a peer advisor is I feel like de-siloing the mistakes. So like, you know, feeling like you're alone and doing this work, and you can kind of tap on someone's shoulder that, you know, may have some experience to share that you can learn from, so that you don't sort of follow certain paths or like make certain mistakes that could be avoidable. I really like being a resource in that way.
Great. Ileana, I don't think she's here. So Andrew, real briefly.
Yeah, you got it. Andrew Stock, you, he, him. I am located in northern Vermont, right near the US-Canadian border. And I'm a worker owner at the Toolbox for Education and Social Action, and also through the Federation, one of the state level organizers for pilot program doing co-op organizing in Vermont, which is really exciting. At TESA, primarily, I've been doing curriculum development and co-op organizing for the last 6-7 years. And so this to me is just an awesome way, like Brandon was saying, to connect with other folks and continue this work, and keep building our collective knowledge. And I think, you know, my favorite pieces of this work, really getting to know the people we work with and build out that community. And I think what Daniela was saying to me is really the top element, is the knowledge exchange. Like I just absolutely learned so much from everyone I work with, and you know, just getting to learn together is really thrilling. So excited to be here and for what we're able to do together. So thank you for this.
Great. I don't see Stephen. So Esther.
Sure. My name is Esther West, and I go by they or she. And let's see here. Currently, I'm a worker owner at the new co-op, the Ajani Group, and I am part of MadWork and on the board of the USFWC. I'm also a former worker owner at Equal Exchange and former staff at the UW Center for Co-ops. And so, yeah, I really love how this work supports co-ops in having worker owner education that connects to worker owner power building in the co-op. And I love that we're building our movement from and by worker owners in alignment with our worker owner values. Check.
I think I'm next. Annie Winkler, they, them pronouns. I recently got done working at the Real Pickles Cooperative down in Greenfield, Massachusetts. And I say down because I recently moved near Andrew, which I didn't know until this moment. And that means in a moment of massive transition, I was so psyched to get Matt's email about, hey, you want to come and help do the work that you love to do, which is, I love talking to people about what's hard, what's good, and how do we make it better, right? Like that is the meat of it. And I'm doing a little work with some conversions already, and just so psyched to keep on keeping on and deepening my learning also.
Great. So I think we just have Deborah and James left. So Deborah and then James, please.
Hi, I'm Deborah Gartenstein. She, her. My workplace affiliation is Patty Pan Cooperative in Seattle. And actually founded Patty Pan as a sole proprietorship. And then we converted it into a worker co-op in 2013. So 8 years ago, have not looked back, was really excited about the co-op landscape, and also started working on being a peer advisor. I love how co-op technical support can help co-ops with their business models so that we can become more financially viable. I think we all have these big dreams, and to realize those dreams and live out our visions, we need to have the financial resources. The best way to get those financial resources is by becoming self-sustaining and just having really solid business models. And thanks, I'm excited to be here.
Hi, my name is James Raza. He, him, his. I'm with Democracy Brewing. We're in downtown Boston. We're a worker cooperative restaurant and brewery, and I'm excited to be part of the technical assistance because I made so many mistakes when I was first getting this off the ground. And I just love being able to pass on that information to other folks so they can learn from my mistakes. So thank you.
Wonderful. So thank you all. I will take over here to talk a little bit about what is the Speakers Bureau. So as we pivot a little bit from looking at all of the amazing work that we do to support individual co-ops, we know that that's just one piece of the puzzle, right? And that the other part is wanting to make sure that we are turning that energy outward as well and looking at the impact that these co-ops have in the broader world. And that is where the Speakers Bureau comes in. So this is a little teaser for the work that's going to be coming live very soon with the Speakers Bureau. And the Speakers Bureau itself is this amazing group of longtime cooperators who have agreed to represent the USFWC and the sector, connecting with other organizations who are looking to learn, looking to grow and start dialogue. And also organizations that have influence and need to be influenced by the wisdom in this sector. So we really look at this coming out of two things, one being the need, and we know more and more in the world today, there is this need. People are waking up to this need for a different kind of economy and for thinking differently about work, reimagining it. And so these times really call for collaboration, and we see leaders in all sectors really looking for on the ground knowledge about how collaboration can work. And wanting to ground it in that wisdom. And so we see that there's a big need, and oftentimes folks will come to the Federation, and we love speaking as well, but recognize that we are not the entire movement, right? That there are so many of us, and really wanting to democratize that space. And part of that is where it comes out of our values aligned purpose also. So the original idea for the Speakers Bureau came out of the Racial and Economic Justice Council in recognition of the fact that the perception of co-ops can and still is often this idea that it's a sort of white middle class space, and wanting to make sure that when we talk about co-ops and who's representing co-ops, that all of the different voices are out there, that we're hearing from BIPOC voices, and we're hearing from people with immigrant experiences and people of all class backgrounds, and that was really part of the values that we had as an organization. And so wanted to make sure that we were helping connect all those different voices to the spaces where they can have the most impact. And if you can pass me off to the next. So the way that this works is that on our webpage, you will have a place where you can search through our speakers. You can filter and sort through different things like topics that people are really engaged in speaking about region, about background, and be able to pick connect with a speaker who really aligns well. Host organizations would fill out the online form, checking off any speakers that they're interested in being connected to, and that gives our speakers all the information they need to make that decision. Speakers then get that information that's sent directly to them, and will connect with those organizations and be able to discuss directly any logistics around scheduling, around travel and honorariums and all of those things, so they can keep that flexibility. Speakers engage at the event or the session, And then at the end, there's a short evaluation for speakers and the host organizations to help keep us all accountable that the Federation shares in. And part of what the Federation can do in this space in terms of helping to make those connections and make this a sustainable space for speakers is to provide some of that support in terms of materials, in terms of helping people stay up to date, in terms of what they're presenting on, in terms of, here are the articles that have recently been written or videos that are available for your presentation. So wanting to make sure that we make that sustainable as we recognize that many of our speakers are out there in the world doing this amazing work, and that sharing your voice, one of the barriers to that can be all of those logistics that we want to help support with. And so we wanted to get a chance also to introduce some of the folks who have agreed to be on this inaugural group as we launch the Speakers Bureau of this era. And we're so pleased to have this group of folks from all sorts of different backgrounds, different regions, different interests and experiences, folks from New York and Michigan to West Virginia and even Quebec and Montreal. So it's been a real pleasure to assemble this group of folks, and knowing that people are coming to you with deep experience in everything from co-op development and conversions to gender and racial justice, youth development, workers' rights and policy. And so we're really excited to have this team of folks. And because we have such a limited time today, we just want to do a quick introduction and have folks just unmute yourself and say your name and the organization you are connected to, and just one word of something that you are really excited, a topic that you're really excited about speaking on. So again, as we did before, we can start and go from left to right and top to bottom.
Great. Hello, everybody. What an honor to be here with everybody today. My name is Maru Bautista. I'm going to switch to Spanish for this part. Y soy actualmente una consultora.
And so I'm currently an independent consultant for cooperatives. Before I was working for the Center for Family Life for 8 years. I'm a member for 8 years for the National Cooperative Board, and I'm just leaving after 6 years. And I'm also in the board of directors of the Institute for Democracy at Work Institute, or DAWI for its initials in English. And one thing that I'm excited to talk about, it's difficult to choose because there's more cooperatives in the world to be the simplest possible. So I'm gonna pass it to James now.
Hi, James Raza again, Democracy Brewing. I'm excited to talk about economics and business.
Hey everyone, this is Sabiha from Design Action Collective, she and her pronouns. I'm excited to talk about the intersection of technology and work and worker co-ops that are setting up, that are based in design and technology. So excited to participate. Thanks.
Hi everyone, hola a todos. Bonjour tout le monde, tant qu'à y être. Stephanie Gico, based in Montreal. As far as my experience goes, I've been in the co-op sector for a little over a decade at this point. Outgoing vice president of Cooperatives and Mutuals Canada, which is the NCBA of this country, of Canada. Was also representative to the board of ICA Americas, Canadian rep to the board. Had the distinct honor and privilege of leading the inception of Canada's first DEI committee from a national co-op perspective. And I suppose that segues well into what I'm excited to speak about. I've been lucky enough to be asked to speak in the States more often than Canada, and it's also been a place where I can speak honestly. So I'm looking forward to speaking about DEI, the self-perpetuating nature of legacy co-ops, and also modernisation de la loi, which would be updating co-op laws, which is also part of my work right now because I am a co-op consultant and help both from the development stage and from the systemic level. So we're reviewing a lot of securities laws, a lot of regulations and so on pertaining to co-ops, and I look forward to speaking about that in the States. Off to you, Mavry.
Thank you so much. And I just want to remind folks, if you can limit it to the name and org and that one topic that you're very excited about. Thank you. Oh, and Mavry, we're having trouble with your audio. I'm getting a clicking, but not your voice. Maybe we can mute you for now and go on and come back around.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now you're good.
Okay, well, my name is Mavry Davis, but my friends call me Mave, so y'all can call me Mave. Most of y'all, I'm a project manager with New Economy Works, West Virginia, member of C Commons, but most of my experience actually comes from being a certified public accountant. So I'm excited to talk about financial literacy, financial management, and youth development. So I'll pass it to Kate.
And I think Kate may not be with us today, so let's head on to Jill.
Hi, everyone. So great to see so many familiar faces. Really exciting. Jill Diamond, she, they pronouns. I'm a worker owner of Sassafras Tech Collective and I'm in Michigan. And I'm just excited to just spread the word about worker co-ops and help in any way I can. So yeah, keep it simple. Pass to Mackenzie.
Hi again, I'm Mackenzie Jones. I'm a worker owner at CoLab Cooperative and a cooperative developer with the Worker Place. And I'm really excited to talk about governance and democracy in the workplace and broad co-op ecosystem building.
Great. Thank you so much for everyone who shared just now. And we know we have a couple other folks who are going to be coming onto the Speakers Bureau shortly. And we're very excited to welcome the group that were here with us today. So we're going to move into our breakout groups. And we may have to shorten them a little bit here. So we'll make sure that we have enough time to come back together. But we've got some really exciting opportunities for you. So in the main room, in this room, we're going to have navigating conflict, which is going to be an opportunity to dive into some of the mini guides with Ana Martina, who gets very excited about working on conflict. So this is one that comes up for a lot of co-ops, and it's a great place to be. In room one, and that one will be in both English and Spanish. So if you would like translation, you can stick around in this room. In room one, there's going to be funding for technical assistance, which is of course the big question when we come into a place like this is, okay, great, this is awesome. How do we fund it? So that's a great place to get some more information about that. And in room two, we're going to be having a Speakers Bureau demonstration. So we'll have a couple of our speakers, Maru and Stephanie, are going to speak a little bit from different sort of types of engagement that you can get from the Speakers Bureau. So Maru will be sharing a little bit more storytelling, and Stephanie will be giving us a little lightning TED Talk around partnerships. And so those are both things that you're going to want to make sure to tune into if those are of interest. So you can separate into any of those rooms by clicking the breakout room at the button at the bottom. And if you have any challenges, Daniel will be helping out. You can just put in the chat which room you'd like to go into if you aren't able to get into them yourself. And we'll come back here in about 6 minutes.
Gracias, Derisha, por
Thank you, Derisha, for sending us to the groups. I'm going to share once more time.
Hey. Oh,
Andrew.
friends, this is
Hey,
so
y'all.
nice.
Maru, we have 3 minutes each.
You start, my friend.
I'll just give an extended version of who I am. Y'all, they told us yesterday what we're supposed to do. Oh, sorry, Darisha. Hi. I can talk in general. That's not a problem.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And I know we'll have a little shorter time than we had planned, but want to make sure we get each of you a moment to talk a little bit. So we'll open up with Maru talking about all of the amazing experiences that you have. I know it's like, which one do you choose from, but just getting an opportunity to share a little bit. And then halfway through, we'll switch over and have Stephanie share a little bit, which she brought in as well. So we'll probably have about 3 minutes for each.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, what do I have to say to this group? I mean, I just feel so like somehow a little like shy. I'm not a shy person, and I'm finding myself being shy in this group. So Darisha asked me to tell you a little bit about like how I came into this work and sort of like what is the perspective that I've gained for the last decade doing cooperative development. So honestly, like the way that I came into this work was by luck, sheer luck. Like I was doing community development and economic development work. And then one night I translated for a group of people who were learning about governance. And I was like, what is happening with this workers and owners and what? And then I was like, I must know what this is, giving immigrant women power and ownership over their business. I just could not understand how that could be, right? Like I was coming from a master's program in economic development and international development, and no, we had not talked about cooperatives. And so when I learned more about it and I found out the Center for Family Life, I was like, I gotta work here. And then I went deep so quickly. Like I started working there in 2013 by luck. Again, I called and I was like, can I have a job? And then they called me back there a few months later and they said, yes, come work for us. And then after that, I was just embraced by the community in such a beautiful way. I was able to immediately join the Dowie Fellowship and made incredible friendships and connections and really learned about the experiences of so many different organizations and co-ops around the country. And then I started to gain this perspective about like what we were doing in New York City was not just like individual cooperatives for individuals' cooperative sake, but we were building something larger. And that's when I just was hooked and I needed to learn more and be part of everything. And then I joined the Federation board. How I got elected so quickly, I don't know, but I've had the privilege of serving on the board for 6 years, and I am on the board of the Democracy at Work Institute. I was lucky enough to be part of the Worker Cooperative Business Development Initiative in New York City. So learning about the experience of building a coalition of nonprofits, functional, dysfunctional, all the things, coming together to do cooperative development with an effort to grow the ecosystem in New York City in doing that and learning from that. So it's been a real like pleasure whirlwind just being able to be part of this movement. I've also had the honor to represent the Federation at international events, national events. And throughout all of that, I carry with me the experience of the work that we were doing in Sunset Park, Brooklyn, with our community of immigrant women, and seeing the challenges that they face in creating their own businesses and managing and running their own businesses. And so I'm very passionate and excited to be in spaces where we can share the lessons, and also we can make policy changes so that policy really works for all entity types of worker cooperatives around the country. And we can really bring the gospel to other places, because even though we think that the co-ops are known, right? Like, and the movement has changed over the last few years and we've grown, it's still something that it's not widely spread. And so I feel like being able to speak at more events and just sharing the experience and not forgetting like where we're coming from and building to a better future where cooperatives are part of the conversation and are invested in and are accessible to everybody. I'm very happy, and I have all of my energy to bring that to others. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Love it. Thank you. And Stephanie, if you want to take the last minute or so.
Yeah, for sure. And hard pivot. I'm not going to speak about what I'd been exchanging about with you, because it would have involved 13 people hearing about my wedding, which takes more than 3 minutes. Instead, I am gonna chat with you and actually to plus one, a lot of what Maru was saying. In March of last year, I was being interviewed by a friend and colleague around the question of worker co-ops. We were looking at a project in Alberta around making a housekeepers and house cleaning cooperative in Jasper. Maru, I reached out to you for that one. And this interviewer who had the best intentions in the world asked me like the question, which was, can co-ops actually provide protections for the systemic oppression and marginalization that members face in the world? 3 months later, I found the perfect answer in one of those like epic moments of, I wish I had said that in the moment into the mic. I realized that co-ops are one of three things. They're either simply a legal form, they're a way of incorporating a business that allows you to benefit from the DNA and that the articles of law provide you. It is a super large blueprint or like a framework that you can work within to structure your business that you can fall back or rely on. It's a vehicle. Maru, you're the reason for that one. It's a way of getting from one place to another as a group. It allows you the guidelines, the blueprint that you create together to get you to a place. Again, thank you, CFL, or it's a human system. And that's where you land on whether or not that co-op is gonna do all of the ideals and reach all of the ideals that you had hoped for in the world. We are only as good and as perfect and as ideal as we aspire ourselves to be, equip ourselves to be, and hold us accountable to being together in the most hopefully kind way possible. So yes, maybe co-ops can provide those protections from systemic oppression and marginalization, but only insofar as we can improve ourselves into becoming that. As a speaker, I really look forward to being able to dive into those really intense questions and be able to yes and folks on panels with me, and to make sure that we are able to dive into the reflections for what's possible and how and what it would take to get there.
Love that. My goodness, what a great note to end on as we move back into our main panel. Thank you so much for sharing and getting this little tiny taste of what great conversations there are to come. See you back in the main room.
Creo que hay personas que están regresando de los cuartos. So I'm gonna stop because I see there's people that are coming back from the breakout rooms. And so we have to activate again interpretation for the very, very last. So voy a parar y si las personas pueden reactivar su...
If you could please reactivate your interpretation feature, and I'm going to share my screen.
But we are at the very, very end of the presentation. Segundo.
1 second.
Muchas pantallas.
Many screens.
Okay. So we don't have time really to handle questions, so apologize for that. Took a little bit longer than we were thinking, but we just wanted to, you know, like ask you if you have any questions. You can send an email to either Matt or me, or like maybe Matt can put the email for contacting the co-op clinic. And I want to pass the mic to Raquel to share some last announcements.
Hello, everyone. My name is Raquel. I'm with the U.S. Federation. Thank you to Matt and Ana Martina and Dairisha for this amazing presentation and all the work that they put in. Just here to encourage you all to spread the word about this relaunch of the Speakers Bureau and the Co-op Clinic. So as we mentioned before, the pages for the Co-op Clinic with the how to get involved and how to access services and the packages are all up. If you go to usworker.coop/clinic in English and usworker.coop/clinica in Espanol. So please, if you know cooperatives who could benefit from these services, if you're a developer and you want to get involved with the clinic, please go there. And the Speakers Bureau page is going to be up soon. I'm working on it right now. So once that is up, you all will be able to spread the word about the Speakers Bureau as well. Lastly, quick announcement is that our worker benefits program currently has open enrollment, and open enrollment is open through December 8th. So for worker co-ops that are members of the Federation that are looking for vision insurance, dental insurance, accident insurance, and general healthcare in select states, you can subscribe yourself for this program before December 8th to access those services. And we're going to have a webinar coming up that's a question and answer session about the program on the 16th of November. So please feel welcome to register there at usworker.coop/calendar. Thank you all.
And I think that's it for tonight. We want to just thank everybody who attended this webinar. We're very excited to work with you all together and to keep supporting the cooperative ecosystem. And yeah, and we recorded the session, so we're going to be sharing also over email. If people have questions, feel free to reach out. Buenas noches a todos.
Gracias. Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.